Oh man, look at me. What is this? All these food challenges. I gotta get my butt back in the gym. God.
Hey Daddy, it's time to come and see the movie! Come on!
Oh man, here we go.
When I was a lad, I ate 4 dozen eggs every morning to help me get large. And now that I'm grown, I eat 5 dozen eggs, so I'm roughly the size of a porch.
Hey, where are you going?
I'll be right back. Gaston, although he didn't have much luck with the ladies, he did know a lot about diet and nutrition, apparently. I mean, just look at those muscles just bursting out of those sleeves. So let's take a page out of his book. You know, he ate 5 dozen eggs for breakfast. We got 5 dozen eggs in front of us. 60 eggs. Scrambled. I don't know how Gaston took it. So there must have been something going on with his diet. Maybe it was eggs and a little bit of gear. I don't know. I'm gonna give myself 30 minutes to do this breakfast because I imagine Gaston was, you know, a busy guy. He had a lot of stuff to do. He just kind of scarfed it down. I've got a little bit of hot sauce here to help change up the flavor every now and then. I imagine I'm gonna get sick of eggs. I wish I had some salsa. I love salsa on my scrambled eggs, but unfortunately we're out. The house smells wonderful right now, by the way. It totally doesn't smell like eggs throughout the entire house. This was a bad idea. Gaston must have been like some sort of derivative name they gave him from gastrointestinal. He probably had stomach issues. I'm about to find out. We're gonna call this the Gaston Breakfast Challenge. It has a good ring to it. If it smelled better, it might be a little easier, but I guess you do what you gotta do for the gains. Gains! Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Eggy.
All right, let me start off by saying I wouldn't attempt this challenge unless you're in a very well-ventilated area. This may not come as a surprise to most of you, but egg is not the most fragrant of smells. There's a reason why Febreze doesn't have any egg-scented air fresheners.
I got some almond milk here because it's breakfast. And, you know, why not? More protein. Protein.
For those of you out there who are wondering, I'll save you the trouble of doing the Google search. This meal, if that's what you want to call it, contains close to 400 grams of protein, which I know sounds like a lot because it is. That's a lot of protein.
I'm gonna break out the hot sauce. Already struggling from all the egginess.
To make matters worse, I I definitely overcooked these eggs. They came out really rubbery, which is not an adjective that I like to use when describing food. You know, if that's you, that's fine. I don't judge. But as for me, I like a good jammy egg, something I can spread over toast,
I didn't give these eggs enough time to cool down. I'm starting to get a little sweaty.
She's still expecting a call.
That's not gonna happen, so just move past it, all right?
You will call her!
Jesus, man, I'm sorry. Fine, I'll call her.
Raising the core temperature a little bit. See, I've already done enough eggs to where for a regular breakfast, I'm good.
I'm starting to think Gaston might have been on that intermittent fasting lifestyle, because this is a lot of food and he was shredded. And I think we're all thinking the same thing, and it just needs to be said. The dude was definitely not natty. You don't get that big and that ripped from just eating eggs and drinking beer all day.
See, Gaston, he went about it all wrong. Belle was into books, and she was kind of introverted, and he might should have just started reading instead of worrying about his hair and muscles and all of his drinking buddies. Just a tip for you men out there: pay attention to what she likes and then do that stuff.
Don't get me wrong, there are so many things that Gaston could have done better. But was he really all that bad? Stick around till the end of the video and find out why I believe Gaston was actually the victim in Beauty and the Beast.
Then again, maybe Belle was just into hairy dudes. And, wound up with the Beast. Did he have a name? Did the Beast have a name? I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen the movie.
I'll save you the trouble of doing another Google search. According to multiple sources, including Wikipedia, Reddit, and Disney, as far as I can tell, he doesn't have a name. Which makes me wonder, when the movie's over and they go on to live happily ever after, what does Belle call him from now on? Does she just call him Beast? I mean, because that's kind of insulting, right? I wouldn't want to be called Beast.
That's a big pile of eggs. Golly. Gaston's cholesterol must have been off the charts.
I'll tell you what else was off the charts. His testosterone. We learn in that song that nobody had a thicker neck than Gaston. He had biceps to spare, and every last inch of him was covered in hair. And I'm sorry, but you just don't get that with low T. Hey, whoa, where you going? Hey, come back, buddy.
All right, friend. Just getting something to... I'm getting sweaty.
If you've ever wondered what the egg sweats smell like, I can tell you from personal experience, it's not great. I'm not a fan. I stunk for a whole day after this challenge, and I'm starting to think that Gaston's problem wasn't his personality, it was his body odor.
It's weird. At home, when you find a hair in your food, it's just like not a big deal. Maybe that's me, and maybe saying that it's weird, and everyone's like, what? But it was at home, it's like not a big deal because you'd get fussed at. Or, someone would say, well, that's just more protein. But then you go out and find a hair in your meal and you demand, the meal be comped or something. Well,
it sounds weird saying it, I know, but maybe it's just me. But if it's my hair, or like I know the person who the hair came from, it's like, whatever, who cares? But if I'm out at a restaurant and I find a strange hair in my food, all of a sudden it's like a big deal. Is that weird? Is that just me?
Stop playing with your food, will you?
I think at this point I was just getting really tired of eggs, and I was just spreading it out to see how much I had left.
I didn't think I was going to need to, but I'm going to pull out my secret weapon.
Whoa. Keep it in your pants, buddy. Nobody wants to see that.
Sour cream.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, baby.
All sexual jokes aside, I do like a lot of cream on my eggs, I gotta say. That's some good stuff.
A couple of dollops. Ooh. Let's continue.
Let me know in the comments below what you like to put on your scrambled eggs. Do you like sour cream? Do you like salsa or hot sauce? Maybe a little bit of cheese on there or some cooked veggies? Let me know in the comments. Maybe it's something weird like ketchup.
Just a little over 15 minutes in. I mean, I'm bad at estimates, but I feel like we're doing pretty good. Maybe a third of them left. This looks like 20 eggs, right? Jeez Louise.
You know, sometimes I wonder what I'm doing with my life, doing all these food challenges on YouTube. But hey, at least I haven't done anything too embarrassing yet. Until that just happened.
What was that?
That was just some scrambled eggs rocketing out of your nose.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh at yourself.
Could I have edited that out? Sure. Should I have? You know, maybe. But did I? Nope. This is who I am, and I'm proud of who... Well, you know, proud probably isn't the right word there.
Man, Sarah's gonna make me sleep on the couch tonight.
And sleep on the couch I did. But it was of my own accord. Really, it was a gentlemanly gesture. I didn't want to have to subject my wife to the aromas being emitted from my body that evening. I really didn't want to subject the couch to those aromas either. Maybe I should have laid down some plastic or something.
Sometimes I wonder if my general practitioner ever watches any of my videos, and I get worried I'm gonna get judged the next time I go in for a checkup. Hey William, surprise, surprise, your cholesterol is off the charts. That's weird.
Aside from being a competitive eater and doing food challenges, I am a little bit of a health nut, and this is an actual fear of mine.
Your LDL doesn't really look that good. Huh. I wonder how that happened. And you're pre-diabetic. Shut up.
For your information, my doctor is actually aware that I do these food challenges, and he doesn't entirely disapprove. I do get blood work done regularly, and everything falls within a normal range. The biggest part of these food challenges is making sure that you take care of things in the interim. Like I always say, it's a long road back. A lot of fasting and good old cardio.
As a competitive eater, I know when I'm getting flavor fatigue is when I just chew and chew and chew and never swallow. Because your brain is telling you, stop. I'm tired of this. Something else, please.
Oh yeah, flavor fatigue. That's not a made-up term either. That's a real neurological thing that happens where you're so bored of what you're eating, you just chew and never swallow because your body's just tired of it. And let me tell you, after 5 dozen eggs, I don't think I'll be wanting scrambled eggs for a while.
Coming down the home stretch. Just remember, gains. Who feels like going out and having a full day of activity after a breakfast like this? Gaston was a beast.
Or so people would have you believe, but is it possible we've got it all wrong? Let's wrap up this challenge and take a moment to reflect on the tragic nature of Gaston, who I believe could possibly be the most misunderstood and misrepresented villain in the entire Disney canon. Let me explain. In the pre-revolution French countryside, situated in a small village, we find our subject. A war hero, known and loved by everyone, Gaston embodies all the traits any Renaissance man would need to win a woman's hand in marriage. He's not only well-equipped to provide and protect, but also handsome, strong, decisive, admired and respected. He cooks and decorates. And did I mention those pipes?
It's time to follow me.
The town literally sings his praises. Women melt at the sight of him, and all the men want to be him. However, while Gaston could have any woman in town, he is drawn only to Belle, an estranged, bookish woman who looks down on the villagers, referring to them as little people, who possesses no valuable skills except reading and feeding the hens, and who also, having no other suitors, snobbishly rejects Gaston's every advance. dissonance creeps into the mind of our hero. If he's admired by all the men and desired by all the women, how does she elude him? Why doesn't she see what everyone else does? What is he doing wrong? How does he reconcile the mixed signals he's receiving? I believe this confusion bred a deep insecurity. Insecurity that Gaston hid, as many men do, by projecting arrogance, vitality, strength, and charisma. I would argue that the very traits that made Gaston so dislikable are a direct result of a culture that fetishizes hypermasculine ideals, grooms individuals who embody those ideals, and deify them, never giving them an opportunity for any kind of transformational correction. As a side note, we could even speculate that Gaston had been groomed from an early age. 4 dozen eggs is enough calories and protein to sustain a 300-pound bodybuilder for a whole day, and poor little Gaston ate that for breakfast every morning. And I'm sorry, but kids just don't do that unless there's some sort of sick, vicarious parent behind the scenes. Further, I believe Gaston mirrors a cultural phenomenon seen today in young men who, in the absence of a good mentor, subject themselves to the same impossible standards they impose on women, focusing primarily on outward appearances, peer approval, and status, only to be rejected because they lack submission, understanding, and compassion, developing a noticeable asymmetry between their inner and outer beauty. Meanwhile, if these young men are like Gaston, surrounded by people who praise their vices as virtues, they'll forever remain in a downward spiral of investing energy into the wrong areas of personal development, never learning to focus on others. I see it all the time. Confused young men with chiseled abs, trophies, and a nice car developing social anxiety and body dysmorphia, perpetuating negative stereotypes about women because they can't figure out what they're doing wrong. It stems from normative male values leading to rejection, which implants insecurity and grows into jealousy, bitterness, and finally to hatred. Like that old saying goes, villains aren't born, they're made. The difference between the Beast and Gaston, however, is that while the Beast benefits from the encouragement and correctional guidance of Mrs. Potts, Cogsworth, and Lumiere, Gaston finds himself trapped in an echo chamber of villagers who idolize him, constantly feeding his narcissism and stagnating any potential growth he might have experienced otherwise. It's most evident when Gaston is seen brooding in the pub after his proposal rejection. He says he's
Dismissed, rejected, publicly humiliated.
LeFou even offers him more beer, and he responds,
What for? Nothing helps. I'm disgraced.
He's deeply confused, visibly struggling, and in this moment he's primed for correction, basically begging for it, desperately needing his own Mrs. Potts to gently nudge him in the right direction. But what happens instead? The entire pub breaks into song praising him. They couldn't stand to see their savior brought down to their level. So at a time where he needed and was ready for correction, he received harmonized and choreographed validation, drifting further away from the answers, a hostage to the very people who adored him and forcefully spoon-fed his own ego. Therefore, I believe Beauty and the Beast could be read as a cautionary tale about the dangers of misplaced cultural values. When people are deified and never challenged, how are they expected to experience any kind of transformative change? The misunderstood tragedy of Gaston is that we'll never know if he would have experienced that change if he were surrounded by better friends. Instead, in the end, he fell to his death trying to embody what the townspeople had carelessly created. A sad instantiation of a man full of potential, but poisoned by societal pressure and misappropriated masculine norms. Heartbreaking. R.I.P. Gaston. He's expectorating in heaven now.
Well, I'm ready to go tackle the day. All right, that was the Gaston Breakfast Challenge. Who else out there thinks that they can eat 5 dozen eggs? Because that's what you're going to need if you want to be built like Gaston. So, this Breakfast of Champions is down. But comment down below what your Breakfast of Champions is. Maybe it's French toast, or waffles, or pancakes, or sausage, bacon, cereal, who knows. But thanks for tuning in, y'all. This was a lot of fun. Tune in again next time. Until then, be safe and be well. And make sure you love each other and sit up straight and clean your plate. Bye! Gaston Breakfast Challenge!